everyone. Welcome to Educating Geeks, the show where geeks help geeks discover new passions. Today, Megan, Geek host Megan, will be receiving an education on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I'm Alice.
Sarah.
I'm Megan.
I'm Bree.
So,
Hitchhiker's
Megan,
Guide, yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide. So, why don't you give us your having read? You read it, right? Is what you did. You read it.
I read it this week. I'd never read it before. I had started. I think it was in high school that people were like, "How come you haven't read this book?" And I think I borrowed that 80-pound tome of all of them collected
together.
Yeah. I think I borrowed it from a couple of different people a couple of different times. I think I started reading it half a dozen times and then I never made it past the destruction of Earth. So I never
You didn't make it very far.
No, I didn't. I got to I think the farthest I'd ever gotten was when they got onto the Bogon ship.
Why is that?
I have no idea. I think I was distracted by Stargate, let's be honest. It's weird because we're preparing for a Stargate episode coming up, and so we've all been watching Stargate, and it's this is why I didn't do anything else in middle school. This show right here. So yeah, I was distracted by Stargate, I think, at the time. Yeah.
How about you, Bree?
Everyone else has read it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it in high school. We actually my family had the huge tome of all the collected.
It's huge.
Yeah, and I read it.
So when we say huge tome, are we talking about the trilogy?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about
collected,
all 5?
Yeah.
Or is it 6? Or
I think it's
which
5.
version? 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
Yeah, so we had the entire
Well, the trilogy
collection.
is 5 books.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
We're all making a little
yeah, we're all
rabbit
air
ears
quoting
with
over here, yeah.
Yeah, and I got halfway through the 5th book and stopped because it's just the most depressing book ever.
Really?
You could tell he was in a rough place.
Oh, that's kind of sad to hear.
Yeah. So I've read almost all of the books.
Okay. What about you, Sarah?
I read it in high school. I don't know who turned me on to it or how. It was so long ago. And this book was... My writing notes for this book was just basically a collection of my favorite quotes, which is just rewriting the whole book. This book is such a part of me that I can't separate anything out of it. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I have to admit that I've been very guilty of. Why haven't you read it? Give me your geek card. I've geek shamed people for not reading this book.
This is a geek card thing, the Hitchhiker's Guide. Yeah, people I know who aren't geeks have all read it, and they're like, "What?" When they find out that I haven't, they do the Scooby Doo, "Huh?" What about you, Alice? What's your history?
So I read it. I also, it must have been high school for me, so mid-'80s. And I'm sure I read it because my sister Ann read it. But the thing that I remember most about it was the radio play.
Oh.
So I always thought the book came first and then the radio play, when in fact it was the radio play first and then the book.
Oh, really?
But the radio play must have come out in the late 70s, is that right? 79, 70?
Well, the book was published in 79.
So
at least that's what Wikipedia told me. It may have been lying.
So the original, the radio broadcast must have been 78 because it did happen in but I was too young, definitely, to have listened to it when it first came on the radio. So they must have played it again on BBC 4 or something like that. I remember, I think of all of the various formats in which it's been done, the radio play remains my favorite of all of them. But yeah, I'm like Sarah. It's one of those geek canon pieces that, you feel like every geek has read at some point or another.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I have now, so I can have my geek card back.
I'm not going to geek shame you. That's the whole point of this
that's why
podcast.
we're here, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. We don't do that on this show. So what would be if you had to write a log line for the book, what would be your short,
The short one is shenanigans ensues. And everything is connected for ridiculous reasons.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, really. But it's about Arthur Dent. It kind of is about Arthur Dent. He's the catalyst. But I wouldn't really say there's a main character. Because it seems to follow all of them fairly...
an ensemble.
Yes, it is, yeah. So Arthur Dent is like Mr. Nervous Englishman and wakes up one morning and there's bulldozers outside his house because they're going to knock it down to make an expressway that he didn't know about because they've had the plans like in a basement, in a filing cabinet, underwater, and he was supposed to find them himself. And then his buddy...
Ford Perfect?
Ford comes over. He's like laying in front of the bulldozers in protest so that they won't bulldoze his house. And Ford somehow shenanigans the foreman to lay in Arthur's place and takes him to a bar for a drink. And then they basically hitchhike off the planet Earth because it's going to be bulldozed to be an intergalactic highway. They get tortured by the Vogons. They have to listen to Vogon poetry. And then they're shot out an airlock. Only, meanwhile, the galactic president has stolen, like, the new cool spaceship that's got, what is it, an improbability drive?
The Heart of Gold, right?
Yes, the Heart of Gold, yes. He's stolen the Heart of Gold. And because of improbability factors, the Heart of Gold saves Arthur and Ford. And then they go on an adventure where you find out that the Earth is a manufactured supercomputer planet so that mice can figure out the question.
The question.
No, they have the answer.
Yeah, they have the answer.
They have the answer to life and everything in the universe, which is 42, but they have no idea what question gets you to that answer.
Yes.
So for 5 million years, they're using the Earth to calculate that, and it gets destroyed 5 minutes before it was done calculating.
And then where do they go?
And then they go to lunch at the restaurant at the end of the universe. And when I was reading so I read this on my Kindle, and I get to the end where it says they go to the restaurant at the end of the universe for lunch, and it says 70% complete. I'm like, okay, next page. Because, it's a kind of a cliffhanger ending, and then you read the next one. So I'm like, okay, next page. What is this crap? It's like another third of the book dedicated to a description of how they wrote, directed, cast the film that came out in 2005. I was like, how lame to piggyback your documentary about the movie into the book and trick me.
Yeah.
I'm not reading this.
Oh, I would have loved that. I read the IMDb. I read the IMDb trivia for the 2005 movie.
Yeah.
And I loved it because so much of it was Douglas Adams was so involved in the movie, and there was trivia that would have gone for the book just as well as the movie. So I just gobbled that up. I loved it.
To the end of the book and had to double check on Wikipedia to make sure I had actually reached the end of the book.
No, I double checked too.
I read it on my Kindle as well, but I had bought the whole series again.
Okay.
So I get to the end, I'm like, wait, this isn't just like a book that's divided in two and I need to read this other half now. Like, this is the end, right?
Yeah, that was the end of it.
Indeed.
It kind of just stops. I'm like waiting for more things to happen. It's just like done. Let's get lunch.
Hey kid, you want to get lunch at the restaurant at the end of the universe?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a little peckish.
I guess the second one is the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's, okay, baby, hold tight, said Zyphod. We'll take in a quick bite at the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Yeah. Done.
End.
As a reader, like, if I was waiting for the next book to come out, I would have been a little bit pissed.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what just happened?
They did. So did you guys, I mean, I think the only, I could see people, my impression of the writing is, I love Douglas Adams. It's light, it's fluffy in a lot of ways. It's very clever.
Yeah, it's very English.
And some would say almost too clever.
No.
I'm with you on that.
People, I think one of the complaints of the book that I hear is it's like you're trying too hard to be so clever with what you're doing. But it never bothered me personally. I just got into the fun of it and sort of, you have to have
absurd.
a certain... Yeah, exactly. You either accept that absurdity or you don't, I think.
I've incorporated it so much that I don't think of it as absurd or anything like that. But I do remember now that you've said that word, thinking, this is random and awesome and completely absurd, and that is exactly why I love this. the first time I read it. But it's such a brain exercise, the way that he makes these similes. When he's describing the Vogon ship, he says, the ship's hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't.
That bricks don't, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I highlighted that.
Yeah, and it's just, he's totally unexpected. And I love that about it because he doesn't bore me. The story is interesting, but I think the writing is a lot more interesting.
I would agree.
Because you don't know what's going to happen. And it's when you do, you're like, what just happened? I need to think about that for a second.
To me, it's like a nice halfway point between trying to read something like Kraken by China Melville or, Perdido Station, where you're like, every 5 words you're in your dictionary trying to figure out what the frack he's saying because it's so erudite. And then reading something like Hunger Games that's so YA, I'm just like, okay, it's a fun story, but oh my God, could she put together a complex sentence every once in a while? I'm getting bored with her writing. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's this nice mix of very clever, very literary writing, but that's done in this very light, fun, accessible way.
Well, I think this is like the epitome of British cleverness in this book. Like, that to me is just British humor in a nutshell. Much the way that bricks don't.
Yeah.
Like, when I read that sentence, I thought, this guy is so British. I love it.
It's so dry. And it's just, just reading it, you're like, I can't, it's a joke, but I don't feel like I can be like you guys, the way bricks don't.
I know.
Just like, what are you talking about?
That's very true.
You guys, the way bricks don't.
I'm making a meme out of that.
Yeah.
Well, what else do you guys want to talk about?
So well, let's do what we usually do. So Bree, who was your favorite character?
Oh, geez. That's difficult because they're all kind of jerks. I'd say probably Ford Prefect because he's the least jerky and oddly, sometimes the most human because he's like, oh, well, I don't want to seem surprised by what my friend's telling me, and I don't want to be shown up by what my friend's telling me. I haven't seen him in 15 years. So I was like, okay,
I like how in that scene they were both, trying to play super cool.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? You got an extra arm. Totally saw that one coming.
Ford doesn't wrong anybody, and he's also not the wet blanket that Arthur is.
Whiny and...
Mm-hmm. And, kind of just a piece of, a cardboard cutout that's just kind of hanging out with everybody.
Right.
One of the things that surprised me this time around was finding out that Arthur is only 30. He seems like he's a lot older.
He seems like he's British 30 to me. Sorry,
Different units of measurement.
I'm just going to keep saying British today, apparently. But,
that's...
No. And I know we're not talking about the movie, but he's perfectly cast in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I mean, because when I was reading this, I hadn't, looked it up. I hadn't remembered that he was playing Arthur Dent in the movie, but he was who I was picturing the whole time I was reading the book.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I was picturing Harry Potter's uncle.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Uncle
exactly...
Vernon?
Really? Yes,
Vernon?
Uncle Vernon. That's who I was picturing.
I could see that.
I could not see that.
I could see
I
that.
could see him as the foreman.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think visually I was picturing him as Uncle Vernon, but, behavior-wise, he's obviously a lot less, angry. He's not as big as a fat jerk as Uncle Vernon is. Arthur does seem to be really kind of nervous. Is that another, British thing?
British thing.
That's who Martin Freeman always plays, is the nervous British guy.
Yeah, I just want to cuddle him.
Me too. Me too.
I consumed it via audiobook, read delightfully by Stephen Fry for the first book, for The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It was released about the same time as the movie, so I'm sure it was a tie-in with the 2005 movie.
Because he did the voice of the guide in the movie.
Right, he did. And then Martin Freeman reads the rest of the series.
Oh, okay.
In the audiobooks. And I, kind of like you guys, we're kept going, and wait a second, am I done? my Kindle was playing the audiobook, and it just launched straight into the restaurant at the end of the universe, and I was like, oh, it's Martin Freeman. And he was so Martin Freeman that I just couldn't pay attention anymore.
Oh.
He wasn't, delightful with the characters and with his voice and the lilt in his voice. And he was very Arthur Dent, very middling, very just unspectacular and unremarkable.
That's why I like Arthur. I think he's my favorite character. Is he your favorite character? Yeah. Well, I'm kind of a wet blanket anyway. But yeah, he's very unassuming, and even when he panics, he's very much like, okay, I'm panicking right now. This is happening, I'm having a panic.
If you think about it, for such a middling guy, and everybody describes
he
sort of like this
handles it really well.
I mean, it's like, his best friend's this alien guy who's writing for the Hitchhiker's Guide for the Galaxy. They get tortured by Vol. I mean, he goes on these amazing adventures. And he just takes it. He's just like, okay, I guess this is my life. Here we go.
Oh, no more McDonald's. Okay, now I'm feeling it.
Exactly.
I love how he responds to the Vogue on Poetry torture session.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, oh, well, I quite liked it.
I wasn't sure if he was kidding
so
or
proud
not.
Of him. Yeah. I was like, yes, keep going. This is how you get out of the situation.
When I was reading that, I was like, does he really like it? I could see him really liking it.
Yeah, I thought he might have honestly liked it.
Yeah.
So what about you, sir? Who's your favorite character?
I don't know. I love all of them, and none of them stick out. I have to say that in the audiobook version, though, my favorite character is the computer. Because Stephen Fry does this amazing voice. He does, really great voices, and some of them are very subtle, but you can tell, it's right. Stephen Fry as so-and-so, Stephen Fry as so-and-so. But the voice that he does for the computer is just this super gay American, Paul Lynde-esque character, and he's all like, hello, and his R's. It's so cute to listen to British people with their R's because they're trying so hard. But I would say just how chipper it is. Or the Doors.
The Doors are pretty funny.
The Doors are kind of cool too.
I kind of was jealous of the Doors because they're so happy just to open and close for people, and
they love their jobs.
These doors
so
love
much.
Their lives. I wish I could be like those doors.
My favorite character is Marvin. Maniacally depressed.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Marvin.
He's not manically depressed. He's just depressed because he doesn't cycle through. Okay, take a drink. Sarah's talking about her crazy. Manic depression is when you cycle between mania and depression. Marvin is just depressed. He doesn't ever cycle. He's just depressed. He doesn't ever experience the highs of a mania. He's just depressed. So that I kind of had to have an issue with the book about that. He's not manically depressed. He's just depressed.
Depressed, manically depressed. I don't care. He's my favorite character.
I love it when he talks to the police ship.
Oh, I know. That is so hilarious. I love how that was described too before they knew what had happened to the ship, when they approach it and they're like, there's this odd thing that happens when you can tell that even a spaceship is dead. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that is such an interesting description. Because I grew up out at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and we've got this big boneyard of all of the unused aircraft. And so I've been around dead ships my whole life. And it's true. There's this difference between the planes that are on the flight line and the planes that are sitting out in that boneyard. There's something missing. It was, I don't know, it stood out to me very much.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's true. It's very true. And then you find out that it killed itself because of Marvin.
Right.
Nobody said Trillian.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say.
I was wondering.
Nobody said Trillian.
She's just so cold, and you don't really get any insight on her.
At least not in this book. Is there more of her later on?
Kind of, but she only gets worse.
Oh.
Yeah.
I do kind of like how she doesn't put up with anybody's crap, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's very brassy, but I would agree. There's something not well-rounded about her to make her really interesting, and her shtick isn't interesting in and of itself to make her that compelling of a character.
Yeah.
Versus, Marvin is very contained in his shtick, and it worked for me, and then you've got Ford and Arthur and Zaphod who have a little bit of dimension to them, because they're all pretty, maybe 1, 2, 3-dimensional at tops. None of them are really complex.
There's a reason for them to be there, and there's really kind of no reason for her to be there other than she's intelligent, and so she can kind of
and she brings the mice.
Yeah, and she brings the mice. So she can do spaceship stuff, and she transported the super intelligent mice. And other than that, you're just kind of like, oh, well.
It's because she's the one that's making sure the ship's not crashing and that people aren't dying. She's got too much crap to take care of.
Right. True.
She's an overworked mother.
She gets super cold later on in the series.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
That was in the 5th book especially. She shows up for a second, and you're just like, oh, geez. Meow.
Should I watch the movie?
I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, listening to the radio play is my favorite, and then I also watched the TV series, the BBC TV series, but I enjoyed the movie. I didn't realize
there was a TV series.
It's like a mini-series. It's really short.
Is it good?
Yeah. It's very British.
Yeah.
In that very campy, bad props kind of way.
Budget.
Low budget.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I just remembered, and I think part of the reason why I didn't finish it when I was reading it in middle school, high school, was because I read Red Dwarf. And I wanted this to be...
Wait. Red Dwarf is a book?
Yes.
Oh my god, I did not know!
That's how it started.
I did not know. The only Red Dwarf I know is the TV series.
Yeah, it's several books, in fact.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Yeah, let me look it up really quickly.
Oh, as for the movie, I personally did not like it that much. But it's because I can't stand Zooey Deschanel.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I like her, but I was kind of shocked when I saw that she was the one cast as Chilean. I was like, that is not a Zooey Deschanel character. Like,
I just feel like
how could she have played that?
No, she didn't play it well. I just feel like she has things that she does well. Like, she does cute music, and she does cute little quirky characters on television, and I don't like her in anything else.
Yeah, I thought that that casting decision was to cuten the character up, and it didn't need to be cutened.
No.
She's already kind of one-dimensional enough. You don't need to, cutify her.
The thing that she has going on in the book is she's stunning and brilliantly intelligent, and that's about all she has. Granted, but they could have just gone with that, and I would have been like, okay.
I remember being upset that they cast so many Americans too in the book or in the movie.
Yeah.
How many? Well, I know Mostaf was in it.
Mm-hmm. He played Ford.
And
which I actually enjoyed. I thought that was good.
What's his name? You know.
We're mind melding right now.
We are.
See it. We're both picturing him.
And we can't think of his name. Rockwell.
Yes, Sam Rockwell. I actually adore Sam Rockwell.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The photos of him looked very strange. But anyway, back to...
But you talk about a hard character, so they don't give him...
He doesn't have two heads.
He doesn't have two heads.
Yeah.
And, in the TV series, he has 2 heads and 3 arms.
Yeah.
And it's really obviously,
it's
like
a puppet. It's like a paper mache.
Yeah, exactly. But again, that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
Of it, in that British TV way.
I just have to watch the series.
I love Sam Rockwell, but I really think they should have kept Trillian British.
Yeah.
There was really no reason to change that.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was the relationship that Zaphod has with the Heart of Gold. And in my notes I wrote, Zaphod does not have the same relationship with the Heart of Gold as the Doctor has with the TARDIS.
No. Yeah.
What are so he hates everything about all of the personality, the things that are given personalities, like the doors and the computer.
Everybody hates that about the ships, the bits of the ship.
Do they really?
From what I could tell, yeah, it seems like everyone was like, this computer has too much personality. Why do these doors have to have personality? Everyone seemed annoyed by that.
I would have liked it.
I don't know. how I would have felt about it. At some point, I'm pretty sure I'd have been like, yeah, just keep down a little bit, because I just want to walk through here without feeling like somebody's looking at me.
I think that's...
Well, I think it's like the difference between people who want the voice on their GPS and the people who don't. The people who think, oh, it's funny, I'm going to give my GPS a cute British accent, or I'm going to give it a boy accent, or whatever. A boy accent.
What's a boy accent?
What is a boy? Hey, bro, turn right, dude.
That's a douchebag accent.
That's right. I'm sorry, boys. You didn't mean to be mean.
And then people who just want to look at it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I got the impression that everyone, except for maybe Arthur, was already experiencing personality overload just from the way the galaxy works. Like, they're trying to give everything personality, and I got the impression that the Heart of Gold wasn't the only thing out there like that. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it's just like one more thing with talking personality in your face. Shut up, you're a dork.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think, you know, so many science fiction books, you know, they go the route of, you know, is technology good? Is technology bad? Is
technology is just annoying.
Right. And in this case, you know, again, I think Douglas Adams does a very fun thing with where technology is headed.
That's a good point.
It's headed to having annoying personalities. You know, and having everything talk to us. And
yeah, just because something has a personality doesn't mean it's going to have a good personality.
Right.
Like Martin.
Like Martin.
There were 2 tea references, and I need to find them.
Oh, yeah, where it's something that's very much almost like tea.
Oh, yeah, because the computer
almost, but not like
you.
quite unlike tea.
Yeah.
So in Doctor Who, when the David Tennant Doctor is regenerating, and he's really sick, and he's just laying in bed, and he can't really do anything, and all he needs, apparently, is
tea.
A cup of tea. Mm-hmm. I was wondering, there were 2 instances of just a nice cup of tea being brought up in the Hitchhiker's Guide.
That's like a trope.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's something going wrong in the world, a British person will cope with it by drinking.
If it's going all pear-shaped.
Yes, all pear-shaped. That's right.
A
British person will cope by drinking tea. That's how English people cope with things. They drink.
At least that's what Harry Potter taught me.
That's what watching British TV for 4 years taught me.
And punch something.
Oh no, they get shit-faced drunk too. I think everybody gets
they
drunk.
get pissed. They get pissed.
They get pissed. Yeah.
And they go become hooligans in the street.
So in chapter 10, it says the principle of generating small amounts of finite improbability by simply hooking the logic circuits of a Bambleweenie 57 sub meson brain to an atomic vector plotter suspended in a strong Brownian motion producer, say a nice hot cup of tea, were, of course, well understood.
Nicely done, by the way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as delightful as Stephen Fry. But I thought that cup of tea was like, oh yeah, so the Doctor just needs a cup of tea, and a finite improbability drive just needs a cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, you know how Americans are with their coffee. Like, we need our coffee.
Okay.
That's how English are with their tea.
And then I loved the part at the end where, in chapter 17, where Ford makes himself a drink that's a liquid almost, but not entirely unlike tea. And that's, again, one of those tea references, but also one of those, here's something, and here's not what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of those unexpected similes.
Mm-hmm. Which I like. I actually really, really like that when comparing the book to the movie, because you really have to think, like, what does this mean? What's he trying to describe? And then looking at how they interpret it on film. Just really interesting to me.
Do you think that they did a decent job? I mean,
it's been so long since I saw it, but I remember liking the visuals of it, even if I didn't like Zoe Deschanel. I remember appreciating the visuals and thinking, this isn't quite what I was imagining, but I can see how they got this from the material.
From a production design standpoint.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They were very proud of their production designs. There are a lot of photos of their concept art on their IMDb. Not many films put their concept art on IMDb.
Oh, I hate Trillian's pants, but whatever.
I hated her whole
everything.
Look.
Yeah.
I'm
Not
only
how I
asking
pictured
because,
her.
again, so many of us have talked about Douglas Adams' use of language and description and how clever he is and stuff like that. And like I said, I enjoyed the film. I thought it was very innocuous. It was a great, just summer fun, kind of a summer beach movie, whatever.
This is a good beach read.
It is a good, because it goes so quickly.
Short and it's silly and fun.
But he is so clever with his language that it was hard for me to key that up with any cleverness in the film, because I didn't feel like the film
all the cleverness
stood up to the cleverness of the book.
90% of the cleverness is in the descriptive paragraphs, not always in the dialogue. And so as I was reading it, I was like, how did they turn this into a movie? All of the good stuff is right here that's not talking.
Right. It's descriptive. Yep,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, that's the problem across the board, I guess, with porting books
With
to film.
adaptations,
Yeah. But yeah, there's so much of it in the bulk of the book.
Can I change my favorite character?
Yeah,
Of course you can.
No, it's locked in. It's been recorded. That's it.
My favorite character is the bowl of petunias.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love the bowl of petunias.
Not again.
I love that so much. So much.
That poor whale.
I feel bad the whole time I'm reading about the whale.
I do too. The whole time, it hurts to read about that.
It's like, oh, I think I'll call that Earth. Like, no. Oh, no.
Wind. What is this stuff? It's
must be
everywhere. Yeah.
Wait, let me find it. Another thing that got forgotten was the fact that, against all probability, a sperm whale had suddenly been called into existence several miles above the surface of an alien planet. And since this is not a naturally tenable position for a whale, this poor innocent creature had very little time to come to terms with its identity as a whale before it then came to terms with the not being a whale anymore. This is a complete record of its thoughts from the moment of it began its life till the moment it ended it. Hey, this is really exciting. So much to find out about. So much to look forward to. I'm quite dizzy with anticipation. Or is it the wind? There's really a lot of that now, isn't there? And wow, hey, what's this thing suddenly coming toward me very fast? Very, very fast. So big and flat and round, it needs a big, wide-sounding name like... Ground. That's a good name. Ground. I wonder if it will be friends with me. And the rest... After a sudden wet thud, was silence.
Poor whale.
He's like, oh, what's that coming up at me? Oh, no, no, poor baby whale.
He's so excited to be alive.
I wonder if it'll be friends with me.
No.
It will be.
It will not.
Not what we're hoping.
So other than Hitchhikers, what other Douglas Adams have people read? The Hitchhikers trilogy.
The Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective
I've read that one too.
Detective Agency. Yeah. That was another one that had just a really interesting character that I would have never thought of, like the monk that was like an atheist monk.
Is he still alive?
No, he died. He actually died before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So there were a lot.
Oh, that's right, because Elin Kofer or somebody wrote the last book.
one.
That's right. Okay. Which I have not read.
I really loved how long it took Arthur to process that the bulldozers were at his house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Because that is exactly how my brain works
Yellow.
in the morning.
Yellow.
It's
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's exactly how my brain works in the morning. I could definitely identify with that, Arthur.
You need some tea.
In terms of pop culture or other geek pop culture making reference to this book, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Okay.
I have a couple friends who have Hitchhiker's Guide tattoos. Like, I know people who are all about Hitchhiker's Guide. But,
What's
I don't
this
really
thing?
notice any references.
What's
in
this
pop
green
culture.
smiley face thing? What's that about? Why is this on all the covers?
That's a damn fine question.
What does that have to
Alien.
do? Is it a character in the book? Is it a planet that eats people that we're going to go to in a later book?
I just thought that was the logo for the Hitchhiker's Guide.
Why is it the logo for the Hitchhiker's Guide? It's
I
not
thought
described
the
in the
Hitchhiker's Guide
book.
had the big "Don't Panic" on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Maybe
What is-
that picture.
Listeners, What is this thing? I'm pointing to it. You can't see it because this is radio.
The
Podcasting.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
the green
it's the
planet.
green planet with its limited series going wah, wah. Like, what is up with that guy?
Can we turn that sound you just made into a ringtone?
The Encyclopedia Galactica was mentioned in Contact when they were receiving the message.
Oh, was it?
The Jodie Foster character is like, maybe it's some kind of Encyclopedia Galactica.
Oh, and she would be the kind of person to make that reference.
Right.
Ellie, you big nerd.
I'm not sure that Encyclopedia Galactica as a concept originated in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because I read somewhere about Encyclopedia Galactica being a reference to something in Isaac Asimov writings.
Oh.
References upon references.
Yeah.
I've read some Isaac Asimov, but nothing jumps to mind. Let's go to the Googles. The Encyclopedia Galactica is a fictional or hypothetical encyclopedia of galaxy-spanning civilization containing all knowledge accumulated by a society with quadrillions of people and thousands of years of history. Concept and name of the Encyclopedia Galactica first appeared in Isaac Asimov's short story Foundation, which I have not read.
In May 1942.
Yeah, May 1942. He used it as a literary device throughout the Foundation series. Carl Sagan mentioned it in Cosmos. Carl Sagan, my hero! And then, it was in Douglas Adams. Oh, and in Arthur C. Clarke and Gentry Lee's Rama, which we should read Rama because it's very good. Okay. Just think the sum of everything all human beings know or have ever known might be nothing more than an infinitesimal fraction of the Encyclopedia Galactica, is a quote from that book.
When Marvin says, I have a million ideas, they all point to certain death.
Yes.
That's my favorite quote. Sarah, do you have a... Because I know you wrote a bunch down. Do you have
okay.
Can you pick one? And
another reference in pop culture that I think maybe went back to Hitchhiker's Guide was the Vogon saying, resistance is useless.
Oh, yeah, I thought so, too. It's like...
I wonder how much of Star Trek was
resistance
influenced by
futile
that.
is futile. Has a little bit more of a ring to it, but it's quite close.
Quite close.
Oh, I like the guy who likes yelling. I just like to yell. What is it that he yells? I can't remember. Oh, his resistance is... What is it? Useless? Resistance is useless! That sounds like the kind of job I would like.
Just go around,
and he
just go around yelling.
He says it's a good job tract, too.
Yes, because he's up for promotion to, like, the chief yeller guy. He's like, I get to be the guy who yells all day.
Are we doing favorite quotes still?
Yeah.
You have
Okay, I have a favorite quote. It's actually the mice. Because they're trying to figure out, like, oh, God, like, what's the question going to be? We don't want to run this all again. Like,
yeah.
And then my favorite is, then Frankie said, here's a thought. How many roads must a man walk down?
I thought that was so great.
I know, and then I instantly am like, the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
Well, you know, the cleverness of his language in many ways, the way he turned a phrase, and they're different, but to me it reminds me of the cleverness of Joss Whedon dialogue. Mm-hmm. In that very, it's just clever. It's just clever.
It's got
smart
nice
and clever
to it, too.
Yeah, and a lot of it just goes like, it's just like glossed over by the characters in the book.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, anyway.
Because you're over here laughing and they're just continuing on.
Yeah. Sure. Whereas, like, if we cracked one of those in person, you'd be like elbowing your friends in the ribs, like, hey?
The way that he described all of the intergalactic travel was just brilliant. Like, his stomach fell out through his feet.
Yes, yes.
That was great.
He really, the way that he uses words and the way he turns a phrase
and all
the
of
way
the
he does the descriptions, it's just
all of the
charming.
really surreal stuff going on while they're traveling in the heart of darkness.
I'm going to ask you,
it is the heart of darkness.
So my favorite quote comes from, again, the unexpectedness of Douglas Adams' writing. They're about to jump into cyberspace, and Ford tells Arthur, "You'd better be prepared for the jump into hyperspace. It's unpleasantly like being drunk." "What's so unpleasant about being drunk?" you ask a glass of water. Arthur thought about this. And I had to stop and think about it, too.
What would a glass of water... Well, is the water related to me, or am I asking a glass of water its thoughts, or...
Yeah. Yeah, I had to think about that one for a while.
Yeah.
So the drinking game rules for this one was a little bit interesting, as we were discussing earlier, because it's not like you're all sitting... typically, people don't all sit together in a room together and say, like, okay, turn to page 1 and start reading.
Yeah. Well, and some of us would be like, okay, I'm done. And someone else in the room would be like, I'm on chapter 3.
Right, exactly.
People read very differently.
So we were imagining that that this would be a self-inflicted drinking game.
Well, since we said it was a good summer read, like sitting on the beach enjoying your beer.
Yes.
Or your Mai Tai or whatever. Yes, your Pan-Galactic Girl Blaster.
Yeah.
Or having some wine while you're sitting on your couch, relaxing.
Or some whiskey.
Yeah. Whiskey. That's how
Yeah, for some reason whiskey is not for Blade Runner, yes. For Hitchhiker, no. For Hitchhiker, I'm thinking more something.
Do a lot of things with whiskey, including edit this podcast.
I think we should start with, I would just like to personally hear there are a million recipes for Pan-Galactic Gargle Blasters out there. I want to hear everybody's idea of what would go into theirs.
A Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster. I would do tequila, pineapple juice, vodka.
I would put blue how did we just... Curacao. Blue Curacao. It needs to be fizzy, doesn't it? I think it should be fizzy. Or am I the only one that thinks that?
No, I could see fizzy. Yeah, for sure, I almost like a fruity Long Island iced tea is what I'm thinking. So lots of alcohol, but then also easy to drink.
Mine would be like a gigantic shot, basically, because it would have...
It should be hard to drink, isn't it? Like really hard to drink.
Oh, yeah, it's difficult to drink.
It's like so gross.
And you have to take a day off
Most of the
work.
recipes I saw online had an olive in it. So they would have fruit, but then a single olive.
Gross.
I would do gin, bourbon, a splash of absinthe, and a sidecar of tequila. And
I'm going to Bree's house to do that.
and maybe just like some soda water, maybe if we want it fizzy, but mostly I'd just be like, okay, there you go. Here's your solid glass of alcohol. Chug.
Oh my god, that would be so...
But then you'd get the effects of the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Yeah, although I do think there's other stuff. You've got to put other stuff in there too, though. I really do.
I can't think of a mixer that I'd actually want in there.
But you could make it something really...
Tamarind soda.
Gross or really weird or something. Mm-hmm. Tamarind soda would be good. How about you, Megan? What are your thoughts on the matter?
Well, it had to have blue curacao in it, and I think I would put because I want it to be blue, like Sprite or something in it that's a little bit sweet, and then probably. I don't know how smart it is to mix gin and tequila, but that's what I really want to do.
Yeah.
We're not about mixing a smart drink with a Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Yeah, that's true. Those two, and then maybe, just to be really gross, a splash of Baileys to make it kind of cloudy.
Ooh.
It would almost like be curdly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Then you have to chug it.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
So it does specifically say that you have to add an olive.
It does.
Oh,
okay, and then throw your olive in there.
Yeah,
Gross.
that's fine. I hate olives.
The description also says that drinking a Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster is like having your brain smashed out by a slice of lemon wrapped around a large cold brick. I feel like I want to have a drink with lemon in it. And lemons aren't really necessarily compatible with olives.
Well,
Limoncello and Goldschlager.
Limoncello and Goldschlager. That's brilliant. But yeah, most of the recipes I saw online they have lemon. They're topped off with a slice of lemon, but then with the olive in it. Yeah.
I think to have that effect, I would just drink like a pint of tequila and chase it with a lemon.
I would have moonshine, limoncello, and goldschlager, and I would top and then a splash of gin and bourbon and tequila.
Wow.
I think you're onto something.
Wow.
And then the olive, yeah.
Well, and if you're using
everything in your liquor
if
cabinet.
you're using different alcohols like that too, you can do really cool things because different alcohols have different weights.
Yeah.
So you can they'll layer really cool.
Yeah, not enough of
one of the recipes I just looked up on the internet is like 1 part Everclear.
Yeah.
God. 1 part bitter lemon, 1 part Bombay Sapphire gin.
Oh, that would make it blue.
1 part permafrost schnapps. Ugh. Or creme de menthe. Gross.
Gross.
Yeah,
Well, then no, because they do talk about hypermint.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read the description? I just had it.
And there is apparently a bar in Laramie, Wyoming, which I will be at over 4th of July weekend.
Yay!
Where you can order a Pan Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Can you take pictures? And
I will if I can get my family to go. I will take pictures.
I'll go with
and there's
you.
also in Boulder, Colorado. There is also a bar apparently where you can order.
Well, Colorado's just up the road.
I know, it's not far. And I have my friend Phil, who you met for Comic-Con, lives in Boulder. So
Hi,
I told
Phil.
him next time, hi Phil, I told him next time I was in town we were going to have to go get Pan
We
Galactic
have any geeky mixologists. Y'all should post some recipes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try them out.
I had a friend who had celebrated her 42nd birthday with Pan Galactic Gargle Blasters and a reading of Vogon poetry.
Awesome.
And I can't wait till my 42nd birthday so I can do that. Can't wait.
And here I was like, why 42? Duh! Use your brain, Megan. Come on.
Okay, so
I'm afraid I'm past that. That ship
what
sailed
would we
for
do
me.
a drinking game though with this book?
I
Well,
did come up with a couple of rules.
I came up with a lot. Go
I
ahead.
didn't come up with a lot, I gotta confess. But so if you want to get really drunk, you would just and all you'd have to do is take a sip every time they say hitchhiker, hitchhikers.
Oh.
Yeah, that
like
was one of
because
mine.
It gets repeated so
Yeah,
much.
one of mine is anytime they quote the Hitchhiker's Guide or the Encyclopedia Galactica.
Oh.
I was going to use that one too.
You guys came up with so much better rules than I did.
What are you talking about? We only named one.
That we all
That
came
one
up
rule
with.
is way
That we all
better than
came
all
up
of
with.
mine.
So what? Give us some of yours.
One of mine. Oh, one of my good ones is it's kind of stupid. Take a drink anytime there's an improbability match.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
That could be a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get pretty drunk.
Yeah.
But yes, a shot. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't know. Those were both ones that I was like, okay, improbability and quoting the book.
Yeah.
And
You could also do Towel 42. Either one of those you could,
yeah.
you could do mention of.
Anytime Marvin says life, don't talk to me about life.
Oh, that's a good one.
So in chapter 31, they're describing ways that they can, maybe help Arthur out if he were willing to donate his brain, so that the mice could figure out the question to life, the universe, and everything. And Benji says, it could always be replaced if you think it's that important. Yes, an electronic brain, says Frankie. A simple one would suffice. A simple one? Wailed Arthur. Yeah, said Zaphod with an evil grin. You'd just have to program it to say, what? And I don't understand. And where's the T? Who'd know the difference? And that almost exactly
that's
matches one of my drinking game rules. So I liked that they were commenting on how often Arthur says, what? I don't understand, and wants some tea.
Well,
Where's
then
the
mine's
tea?
going to be every time Zaphod says something sassy.
Awesome.
One of my rules was take a drink anytime Douglas Adams makes up a ridiculous word.
It's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one.
It should be 2 drinks if it's a ridiculous name. Because the names are like 10 times more ridiculous than some of the words.
Slartibartfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I read that name. Okay, how do you say that? I read it so slow, 6 times. Is this really this guy's name? Slartibartfast.
So IMDb says, according to Douglas Adams' notes, he wanted the name of the character Slartibartfast to sound extremely rude, but still passed BBC's rules on what could be broadcast. He actually started with Farty Fuck Boris.
Farty Fuck Boris.
Oh my god. That would not pass.
And changed it bit by bit until it was acceptable.
That's pretty funny. I like, okay, yeah, if he wanted it to sound rude, he nailed it with Slarty Bart Fast. Because I was like, is his name Fart? Is Fart in his name? Really? Like, slippery fart? Gross. That's what it makes me think of. Good job, Douglas Adams. You succeeded.
My final drinking game was take a drink, not a shot, because you would be drunk by the end of the chapter. Anytime he makes an unexpected simile. This book is so full of similes. And some of them are the similes like, here is what I'm trying to describe, and it's exactly the opposite. Or some of it is just bizarre and random. Like, oh yeah, that like being drunk.
Yeah.
That just, you have to think about, and they're amazing.
My only other drinking game was kind of covered by Sarah, but it was take a drink anytime you're as confused as Arthur.
That's a good one. I like that
That's a good one.
That was a good one. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for our discussion of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. Do you feel appropriately educated, Megan?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to pick up, when I'm not watching Stargate and all the other 8,000 things we have to watch and read for our upcoming episodes, I'm going to pick up the next one, because I was wanting more.
Excellent.
Actually, and it was kind of funny, because as I was reading it, I was like, I don't know if I want to keep reading this, and then I got to the end of it, I was like, whoop, there's no more? Book's over? So maybe I do want to read more. So I'm going to check it out.
Excellent.
So thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to look us up online. Our blog is educatinggeeks.wordpress.com, and you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, for all of you, like, 2 Google Plusers out there.
I know. That's all 2 of you.
If you just search for Educating Geeks, you'll be able to find us. So thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
See you. You'll listen to us next time. That's what I'm going to say.